Hey guys, Scripted here with another video, and this one's about Carrie Fisher. It's about Leia. It's about what they did and how they handled Carrie Fisher's passing. It's one of the things that I really thought about when I was doing my Sequels Reimagined on my channel was how to tell the story, but do it from the perspective of the people making it and saying, okay, so she passes away after The Last Jedi. How do I handle this if I'm them? And of course, we all know what they did. They computer generated her and put her in The Rise of Skywalker in a very limited role. And it felt cheap to me because she's, presented as somebody who did some Jedi training in the movie and then was sort of, kind of presented as training Rey, but not though, right? Because Rey just kind of did her own thing. She had her own little training course thing, and it wasn't like Leia was really like teaching her things, really. She was just kind of there, and they had a couple lines of dialogue. And then, of course, she dies in the movie. Leia's character dies in sort of a kind of a weird way, right? Like, because she Force connects with Kylo. He gets stabbed, and then she just kind of passes away. It was just kind of like, oh, okay, that was interesting. All right, sure. And so it kind of speaks to the fact they didn't really know how to handle it and what to do. And it's not to say you couldn't have done something that would have worked. But my point here is that would have been a very risky thing to attempt to do. And that's why in my Sequels Reimagined, she dies off screen. It's just presented as she passed away and it's in the opening crawl. And I felt like that was the only real way to do it because I know she flew through space in the most ridiculous Force thing ever, and then they opened the door and the vacuum of space didn't suck everybody out of the ship, and they did such a terrible job in that movie of trying to present her as being Force wieldy. If you were going to do it, there were a million other ways you could have done it that would have been much more believable and much better if they were going to do that. Which I was never a huge fan of. I liked her being Force sensitive, like with Luke and stuff, like, on Cloud City and all those things. I thought that made a lot of sense. But presenting her as like this Force-wielding person. And then, of course, in The Rise of Skywalker, she doesn't do that. And that would have been something pretty valuable. I mean, if she was a trained Jedi Force user, why was she just sitting around, for example, in The Last Jedi and waiting for Luke to show up as a hologram? Why was she not in the Rise of Skywalker wielding the Force and doing something bigger than just sort of waiting around on a planet for whatever reason? And then, now we're going to attack Exegol, and she wasn't really involved in anything. So it would have kind of worked. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but it would have worked if it was done properly and believably, and then continued to do that in The Rise of Skywalker. But you presented her as a sort of quasi Jedi, but then she didn't do anything. So it was like, what was the point of all this? All of it made no sense. And a lot of that is just because simply she should have just died off screen. It's a huge risk to take because you're not going to get it right. I mean, you might, but it's very unlikely, is what I'm saying. Very, very unlikely. And to do it in a way that really made the fans happy with what you did with her. So that's what I would have done. And the big thing, too, is that, like, Star Wars transcends the movies, right? It's a cultural thing. And so people knowing she died in real life, it makes it basically almost impossible to do her justice in the film unless you really had someone rare and special deciding things. And so, again, to me, the better route was to mention her death in the crawl. No fan. I don't think anyone would have had a problem with that because Carrie Fisher died, right? So nobody would have been like, oh, how dare they not? People would have been like, well, yeah, she died. Like, that's okay that you did that. Like, what are you supposed to do? And if you weren't going to recast her, I don't think any Star Wars fans would have been like, oh no, why wouldn't you have put her in The Rise of Skywalker? What a bunch of idiots. I think most people, and you guys can relay this in the comment section as well, would have been like, yeah, I mean, what could they do? She died. It's a tragedy and it sucks, but there's nothing we can really do about it. And that's what I'm saying. Like, the character of Leia transcends the movies. It's a cultural thing. Star Wars is a cultural thing. At least was. before Disney got a hold of it. And so, again, I just think putting her in there was ill-advised. The way it was done was dumb. It didn't work. And I get that Rian Johnson set it up very, very poorly in The Last Jedi. But it would have just been better to just let her die. She wasn't even necessary in those scenes with Rey. It felt so contrived. Rey was already super powerful. Was already this crazy Jedi. She didn't need Leia to stand there holding the lightsaber for her or handing it to her. You know what I mean? I'm doing the training course now. Oh, okay. Like, so again, it would have been really, really difficult to make it believable and good in The Rise of Skywalker anyway. So you might as well have just let it go, right? And I think, again, because Carrie Fisher and Leia and the Transcendence and all that stuff, I do think that Star Wars fans would have been perfectly okay if she had just passed away off screen, because she passed away. I mean, what are you supposed to do? And so that's why I made this video, guys. Let me know in the comment section if you agree with that or disagree with that. As always, guys, if you like this content, please like, subscribe. It always helps the channel. Feel free to check out anything else on my channel. Have yourselves a really good day.